We need a polytunnel, so we thought we'd come to this place, which is a medium-sized village with lots of polytunnels. We've no idea what we're going to find. Welcome back to Rant in Romania. We're coming today, hopefully, to try and find someone who'll sell us a polytunnel on part of our plan with the homestead we're building, me and Greg. What do you think so far?
Well, they've definitely got polytunnels. So my rationale is if we can't find someone to get us a polytunnel, then yeah, it's a bit like going to the Dacia manufacturing plant and not being able to buy a Dacia. So yeah, it'd be a good day out.
There's lots of things growing in these things already, aren't there?
Yeah, they've got potatoes over there, onions. Looks like they're all getting ready for spring. So I think what we're planning on looking for is a 6 metre by 20 metre polytunnel. The important thing is to try and find something that's galvanised steel, because we've done some research, haven't we? And often things get advertised as galvanised steel and isn't actually galvanised steel. So
yeah, there was one that I saw on Facebook, right? Because it looked really good. The advert looked really good, and he had this very nice kit. And then when I contacted the guy, started talking to him, it became obvious very quickly that the thing was in the picture wasn't what he was selling. I can't work out whether I don't think it was malicious. I just think in the guy's head, it was just like, oh, you want something like this, we make them. You know, he didn't seem too bothered about the fact that the thing he was showing was something that was a very nice clipped together thing with all these galvanized steel components and things, and what he was building was mild steel that was welded, that was just going to rust, and you know, clearly wasn't what was advertised. So, but this is normal from what I've seen people online.
Yeah, I think like when they're small manufacturers or small businesses, they just pick pictures off the internet without actually realising the
I guess this is all fertiliser and stuff.
Yeah,
just like,
I think this is all, looks like well rotted manure that they chuck into the beds.
Yeah, this is crazy. They're everywhere. While you guys are watching this, by the way, I wanted to say something about YouTube, because you may have noticed, if you follow YouTube videos, that there's been a huge explosion of AI content. And it's really affecting the perception of YouTube in general, and it's not a good thing from what I can see. And so one of the reasons we've not been making too many videos is because we want to think very carefully about how we continue. I think there's going to be a trend on YouTube to really genuine, well, I think it's going to be about authenticity and trust. That's what everything's going to come down to, because there's so much AI, algorithmically generated content on YouTube that really is, well, it's just overwhelming all the decent content. So that's one of the reasons why we haven't posted too many videos recently, because we want to make sure our content's very authentic. We're just driving. Have a look at that. That's interesting. That's like a little graveyard in amongst all the polytunnels. I think this is like a whole community built around growing vegetables in polytunnels. I've heard it that originally these are Serbians or something, hence the name. I'm not sure. We're meeting someone else later who claims to know quite a lot about this place, so he'll hopefully be in the video a bit later, but we'll see. We haven't gone away with this YouTube content. We're just thinking very carefully about what we focus our time on, because my main focus, well, me and Greg's focus, is building this community, which we're making great progress on now, and it's just there's only so much time in the day, and we want to focus on what's really working, and the path forward now is really clear. I personally spent a couple of years trying to figure out exactly what to do and how to do it, and the world is changing very quickly, and lots of new things are happening, and it's all very unpredictable, and it took me a while to figure out a plan that's going to work. But I'll gladly share that with anybody who wants to make contact. You can do so in the comments. Okay, so this is my Facebook friend. We've never met before until today.
Yeah.
When we started chatting, a couple of years ago?
I think 2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago, we met on Facebook. We chatted about stuff, and just had the opportunity to meet today, and you know something about this area. To give us a couple of minutes on the whole area here.
Yeah, cool. So I'm by any chance not a connoisseur, if you want. I don't know a lot. I just know a little bit about the history of this place. So basically, the area we are in, it's called Băleni-Sârbi. The entire history of this place is that sometimes in the 17th or 18th century, something like that, there was a guy with a noble, if you want, with lots of money and lots of land. And he needed people to work the lands in order to grow vegetables mostly. And basically he imported a bunch of people from nowadays Bulgaria, close to the border with Serbia. Those people settled here, eventually they started to own their own land, and the tradition kept going on, and even today, as you can see, people are still doing that. That's kind of the history of the place.
It's a good little story. So anyway, my simple idea was I found all these polytunnels on Google Earth, and I thought we'll come here and buy a polytunnel because we've been trying to buy a polytunnel. It's remarkably hard to buy a polytunnel. We came here and I was thinking, oh, we'll just go to like the polytunnel shop and speak to them. But actually, as you can see from this one, these are all custom builds, right? This is all welded together, and they're all different sizes, and you can buy pipes and things, but you can't find people to bend them necessarily. You might be able to find people to build them, but typically this is everybody's done their own thing here, from what I can work out.
Pretty much, yeah. Or they hired a neighbor or something like that.
I'm hoping someone's going to watch the video and tell us differently.
I think I've done research, and I've down selected to, I think it was about 6 suppliers online. But I think the hardest thing I found was the quality, like for understanding the information that they have varies. Some say galvanized, some say galvanized aluminium, some say steel, some just say galvanized metal. But when you're buying remotely, you want a full specification to say, all the details. You want to understand what the diameters are, how it's all fixed together. And I think from doing from my background of market analysis, it's really hard to pull together all that information into a single spreadsheet, which is what I've done. And there's loads of missing information. Some suppliers say something, some don't. So I think that's the challenge, and that's why I thought coming here we might be able to find someone, but obviously.
Anyway, if there's anyone watching the video who knows.
Oh, how innocent we were.
So just something I wanted to show you here. This is all made. This is like rebar. This is welded rebar and just bits of pipe work. This is these are just clipped on here, but all this metal is just put together by some locals, and they're all different. So these are not kits or something like that. They're all hand built. So I don't think the idea of coming over here and just buying something was a winning idea. We did find one guy who was selling the raw materials who put us in touch with someone who he said would build it for a fee, but he's out somewhere else building one, and we're just waiting for a response from him, and maybe we'll follow that up and it'll be something interesting. But anyway, like I said earlier, anybody watching the video who's got any ideas on how to solve this one would be super interested. So that chap, I met him on Facebook. I've known him for a couple of years. I thought he was actually was pretty interesting what he had to say and was useful. I'd not grasped some of the things about this place because I thought, okay, they've got all these polytunnels here. We'll just come over here and find someone to sell us one. But no, not so simple. They're all when you see them from the Google Earth, they all look similar. But when you get here, they're all custom builds, right? So you'd like to think, oh, someone must be able to build one for us, and maybe there is someone. But it's not like there's a polytunnel shop you can go to. Not that I really expected that, but you'd think you'd find someone reasonably easily. But we did have an ask around off camera quite a bit, and pretty much the same story. So
I think it highlights the inherent knowledge that communities have when they're doing something, and it's obviously a generational thing. I think it really highlights that core knowledge that they just take for granted, or it's that community knowledge as opposed to an organisation that sells products. So I think that's what it highlights, that we hadn't necessarily. The
other thing, of course, is these people have been here forever. They've been here doing this for 100 years or something or more. So these kind of polytunnels are a relatively new thing with polythene and whatever. So they would have done these before you could probably even buy anything off the shelf in Romania, I would guess. Right? So
it's generational knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just take for granted.
interesting stuff. So anyway, hope you guys like the video, and got anything else to say?
No, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to have a polytunnel.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to growing my own vegetables.
Yeah, definitely something that we're
Yeah.
going to get.
Oh yeah. If
sorted.
there's any farmers out there in England who've had enough of England and want to come out here and help us, who actually know what they're doing, like we need someone. That's the thing I was going to mention. We're looking for. I think we need 1 or 2 more people now. Like if we could find a farmer with some equipment who just wants to move here.
Doesn't have to be English. Could be.
Yeah, any Westerner.
Yeah.
Any Westerner with a like Western mentality.
Exactly.
Like that actually wants to do something and work hard,
And
like
get
we
away
do.
from, get to a more simple lifestyle.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching. We'll be back soon. As I was saying, not quite sure what our strategy going forward is going to be because of all this AI stuff, but if you're interested, just ask in the comments and I'll give you some more thoughts. I'll probably write some stuff in the notes here on the video as well. Nice to see you again. Like, subscribe and all that, and see you soon. Bye for now.